Hello, welcome to the Queue. This version of Combat Theater is going to go a little bit away from the Axis and Allies world, but we're still playing with tanks and army men, so it's okay. It'll be okay. Company of Heroes. Last video I did was an unboxing of this game. It was a Kickstarter game that arrived, and over the weekend we had 4 games. We managed to squeeze 4 games in. Most of them were 4-player, and I think one was a 2-player, which is what's set up here on the table. That was our last game Sunday night between my son and myself. And the overall view of the game is 2 thumbs up. It is pretty fun to play. If you'll remember from the video, I made fun of reading the rule book because I never do, and it raised its ugly head again, and we had to reread some of the rules. But I think pretty much everyone does that when they play a game. They read the rules, they start playing, and then they go back to the rules, which leads me to the rule book that was put out by the game. And you can't probably read that from there, but it's the glossary and index page, and it has all the terms and then all the symbols that you'll find on the dice and the cards. And the reason why I want to point that out is because this is how you do a rule book. It's really probably the best rule book I've seen in a very, very long time. Each term is there, the description, the icons that are on the little dice, it defines them, but at the end of each paragraph it tells you where in the rule book, which page you can go to find the explanation of those rules. That was immensely helpful with the gameplay over the weekend. You know, it being your first time playing the game saved us a ton of time. I don't know how many rule books to games that we try and play, they just don't have that feature. So you're flipping through page after page, and it's just not, I don't understand why more rule books don't include such a feature, and hats off to Bad Crow Games for that. The other shout out is, after looking at most of these miniatures, tanks and vehicles, the amount of detail on these is really amazing. Darn near looks like a model. You know, if they were painted up, you might think they were, some high dollar models, that you threw together. So overall impressed with the game. We're going to do some videos on the rules a little more in depth, so I'll probably break this up into several different videos instead of streaming the rule portion all together. So it'll be, I don't know how many videos it'll end up being. It'll just depend on the time, taking on all these rules. And then from there, we'll do a small game. Probably, this version here was just one map, a 2-player version. Of all the games we played this weekend, most of them were the small to medium games. We didn't get into any of the large or extra large games. But those will come. I mean, you've got to learn the rules and to get those things going. So we played some smaller games, and they recommended you start off with just the basic rules and then throw in the advanced. So we did that. We played one game with the basic rules. Felt comfortable and jumped into the advanced rules, and then it became a little more apparent that we needed to read the rule book a little better. But we worked through it, like I said, with this glossary and format that they've come up with, the developers of this game. They really come up with a really good rule book. And one of the other things that I'll point out in the rule book is it on, here it is, on page 1. It has one of those, and I don't know what they are, QSR maybe, where you scan it and it goes right to a video that's posted on their website that is a tutorial for gameplay. Setting up how the game works, the basic rules, and scanned it, watched it, played it. Really impressed with their rule book, as I've just said for like the 900th time in this video. So let's look at some of the rules and for most people that don't know, well, probably most people don't know how to play this game because it's brand new. It's a Kickstarter. It is sold out. There are no more. However, the good news is, because there was one item that I wanted to get, which is called a World Builder Pack, which has 2 more maps and then a bunch of overlays you put on to make the maps slightly different. You know, it could be a bridge or a building, or, you know, some different things to make the maps a little different for different scenarios, and you know, and even create your own scenarios. I didn't order that with the original order, and then I was going to order it later and I forgot and time expired, so I went to their website to look to see if I could get that, and everything's sold out. So the good news, and the reason why I say that, is the Kickstarter, I think they call it 1.5, with a few tweaks, I think, will be starting soon. So they will do another run of this game, which I can only imagine will come out, you know, much faster, as the game is pretty much just, you know, with some tweaks, you know, and maybe some new items or new expansions added. You know, I hope to pick it up there along with anything new they might throw at the game. But that is coming soon. So back to the video, we'll do some rules. Like I said, we'll split that up a little bit, and between a couple videos, I think it'll be too long just to sit here and grind through rules. And then we'll do some gameplay and post it in the Combat Theater playlist section. So look forward to that, and let's go to some rules. Before we get into the rules of how to play the game, a little understanding of the game itself is that the maps actually start blank as far as units, you know, vehicles, infantry, you know, so to speak. Everything is spawned onto the map in designated areas that, you know, is set up here in the mission booklet. And there are various missions, you know, from one map to, I think I saw 8 maps if you've got multiple maps of certain kinds. So I guess you would have had to have bought 2 sets of maps, which, you know, I did not know. So I have one set of maps, which I believe was 6 maps, and they're reversible, so there's 12 maps altogether. So you can come up with quite a big map, might even be bigger than the table I'm on here. But inside the mission booklet, and if I can keep that glare off of there, see, here's the spawning areas that I was talking about, where your units will come onto the map. You know, team 1 and then team 2, and it's usually opposite, or, you know, if it's one map, it's there. But it also, the mission booklet tells you the starting income, your starting stockpile, and then also it gives you the victory conditions, you know, for a short, medium, or long game, you know, how many points you got to acquire. So what's the best way to track that? Well, I think they've come up with a pretty good way on their building board. Let's take a look at that. So here's your building board, and each player will get one of these, and I've got these cubes that come with the game, and these will set your starting income. So you got your income section here, so your starting income, and there's a generic or a default starting income for most maps, and then some maps have special conditions where these may start a little higher or lower. I think the default is 222 on your income, and then your stockpile, and I'll get to that here in a second, you know, 444. Now your victory conditions always start at 0 because no one has any at the first of the game. So of your income, you've got manpower, you've got munitions, and you've got fuel. And your purchases are pretty much made out of the fuel and the manpower, or a combination of the two. And upgrades are usually the ammunition, sometimes the experience box, which we'll get to in the gameplay. So your starting income, this is what you get each turn. What's a way you can increase that? Well, if you see on the map here, it has these symbols, and by capturing one of these, say you captured this fuel, you would take your fuel up to 2 on your income. And some of the maps have manpower, fuel, victory points, and munitions in different locations than are printed on the map. So you would just add this little, it's a cardboard, I wouldn't even know what to call that. It's sort of a triangle, but you would put that on the map with the flag, and then, you know, whoever captured that, then they would go up by the 1 manpower. So, you know, Team Blue here would have that, and they would, well, they also got the munitions here. And then over here, Team Red, you know, would have the victory point. So you've collected your, on your turn, you've collected your new resource sites, and you've adjusted your income, you know, up, each one's up 1, because you've got these 3. You did not capture any victory points, so that does not go up. So at a certain point of your turn, which is called a round, the turn is something smaller within the round, there's where you take your income and you transfer it to your stockpile. So starting out with 4 on all these in your stockpile, so now you're going to gain 2 on each one of those, so now you go up to 6. And from that point, now you're going to spend from your stockpile to purchase new units. So you start the game with 2 infantry style units, and they spawn on the board, you know, in your designated area. And then you'll move out, and we'll look at that in the detail of the rules, and capture these points. Any infantry unit can capture these points, and there are several vehicles that can. Most vehicles cannot capture one of these resource points or victory point X. So then turn 1, that's really all you have is 2 units. So then you'll come over, let me reach under here, and you'll get these headquarters cards. So right here you've got 6 manpower, you know, 6 munitions and 6 fuel. Well, you start off with your headquarters at level 1. So you could upgrade your headquarters for 1 manpower and 3 fuel. So you would mark that down. So now you're sitting at 5, 6, and 3. So now you've unlocked these 2 of the 3 parts of your headquarters. So as you can see over here, to purchase, you know, another infantry MG42, so it's a machine gun team. You know, here's a heavier duty infantry with more infantry, a mortar team. Here's an armored car. So you can purchase those, and if you look here at these numbers, that's what you're purchasing them for. So we have 5, so we could purchase the infantry, we could purchase an armored car. Really, we're only going to be able to purchase 1 unit since we spent to unlock that second level of the HQ. So you'll purchase off these manpower, and you'll see here in the middle where you can upgrade units as well. That's the experience, and that's the munitions. So you can upgrade your infantry to do these various different things, and we'll talk about that a little later. So the engine that's driving the whole game here is this building board, and it will go up and down. So say the enemy will come in and take this manpower, and now it's red, so you got to move your manpower down. So at the next part of the round where you collect your income and move it to the stockpile, you know, it's only going to go up 1, you know, and then 2, 2 for those. So that's really what drives the game, this building board, tracking your income, moving to your stockpiles, and then from your stockpiles is where you build, upgrade, and then your victory tracker, point tracker, goes across the bottom here until you get to, you know, whatever the mission tells you is the goal. Like this game here we played in Stalingrad, the 1-player game. It was a 10 point, so the first 1 to 10 points, you know, wins the game. And these are some of the units that were on the game. I just kind of condensed it over here. Actually, I don't think the tiger was on there. I think I just put the tiger on there because I liked it for the video. Okay, so that's the end of part 1 of the overview of the rules for Company of Heroes board game that we'll be playing here on Combat Theater. Let's look at part 2. We'll put that up here in a short while, and we'll go through the dice, the round, what that entails as far as the movement, the damage phase, and the resupply, reinforce, purchase phase. So we'll get to that shortly. Thanks for watching, and look for the next episode to come out soon.